Hello, everyone. I wanted to share an idea about Labor Day. I couldn't find the right sources, so I'll try to do it from memory. And we'll continue tomorrow with the laws of Muktzeh. So the first time that Shabbat is mentioned for the people of Israel is in the context of the man in chapter 16 of Exodus, where Hashem tells Moshe to tell the people that there's going to be man starting on the 16th of Iyar of the second year. And Moshe says, "Ichlu hayom kishabat hayom laHashem, hayom lo timtzu basadeh." So eat the manna that you left over from yesterday, like we just learned in chapter 23 about preparation before Shabbat, and also previously, I think it was chapter 3 or 4. So hayom lo timtzu basadeh, you're not going to find it in the field. And then there's a verse that seems redundant. Sheshet yemim tilketu, you shall collect it for 6 days. וביום השביעי שבת לא יהיה בו. And on the seventh day is Shabbat, and it's not going to fall on Shabbat. And so there's, of course, some kind of misunderstanding, and there were people that went to collect, and they didn't find, and Hashem was very angry at them. But Rashi on that verse of Sheshlim Tilketu says, Haman lo yeh bo, that the reason why it says lo yebo about Shabbat is obviously we learned that on Shabbat it's not going to fall, but also that Yom Kippur and the Jewish holidays. So he does not mention Rosh Hashanah here because Rosh Hashanah is much later discussed. And it's not even mentioned as Rosh Hashanah, it's mentioned as Yom Teruah or Yom Zikaron Teruah. So Yomim Tovim means the first day of Pesach, the first day of Shavuot, the only day of Shavuos, the first day of Sukkot, and the eighth day of Sukkot, and the seventh day of Pesach. So so there was a class, I believe it was Rabbi Gladstein, who said that the 6 days that are also mentioned correspond to the 6 days of Yantiv. So more clearly in Leviticus chapter 23 in Parshat Emor, when it says Sheshet Yimim Te'aseh Melacha, for 6 days work. They translated here may be done, but we'll see that it should be done. וביום השביעי שבת שבתון מקרא קודש כל מלאכה לא תעשו שבת היא להשם בכל משפטכם. Why does the Talmud ask already, why is Shabbat mentioned as part of the Yom Tovim? Shabbat is not up to us. It's always every 6 days on the sunset of the sixth day is Shabbat. It doesn't change based on the Beit Din. We don't announce when Shabbat is, and the Moed specifically, Mikra'ei Kodesh, as verse 4 suggests, is the days that you call to be holy, and you have the power over time. So there's many different answers given. The answer of the Gemara was that if somebody lost count of what these days of the week is because he was on a shipwreck or in the desert, and he had sunstroke, and so he now doesn't know what day of the week it is, he should work for the minimal for living for 6 days, even if it's Tuesday, and then rest on Shabbat. And when he gets back to civilization, it goes back to the rest of the world's way of keeping Shabbat. And so that's one answer. But the answer that Rabbi Gladstein gave, and I thought it was from the Orach Chaim, but I could not find it, is that instead of saying 6 days labor or creative labor may be done, because it's melacha, not avodah. Avodah is just to work, like we talked about. You're allowed to lift your furniture and move it. That's not considered melacha. You're not creating anything. So it shouldn't be may be done, but rather should be done. Meaning Hashem is telling us that besides the proper way of the world, that people work during the week and rest on Shabbat, it's actually a very good thing to work for 6 days. Even if somebody can afford to take off a day or two during the week, they should still do something creative on those days, because Sheshet Yimim Te'aseh Melacha, the holiness of the week, of the weekday of work and labor, to be like Hashem in creating every day of the week except for Shabbat is very important. And so I have a very negative opinion about the holiday that we celebrate today called Labor Day. It's the day that nobody works. In the Soviet Union, they did May 1st, and other communist countries, May 1st was the only day that they didn't work and they would have parades. I'm not saying that we should go to that extreme because we don't believe in working 7 days a week, but inventing holidays and not working on this holiday, I think is against the idea of the Torah. It's not against halacha. You're allowed to take off of vacation. You're allowed to have a day off here and there, but there's very few days on the actual calendar in the American and Canadian calendar where it's days that are designated based on the date. The first Monday of September or the last Thursday of November for Thanksgiving or all kinds of other days like that does not make any sense according to the Torah. The Torah says that for 6 days we work and we create things and we rest on the seventh day. And so that is my opinion. I'm not sure if it's a question of halacha. It's not you're not allowed to celebrate Labor Day. I'm surprised actually that all my friends when they were in Yeshiva in Israel asked about Thanksgiving, about Chukot Goyim and stuff like that, and nobody ever asked about Labor Day. So I don't know why it's more okay than other days, and it doesn't commemorate anything specific as far as I know. Even in Canada, we have Victoria Day for the birthday of Queen Victoria, who's been dead for more than 100 years now, um, and we celebrate in the second or third Monday of May. Again, I don't know why that's okay, but I think that I just wanted to highlight this idea of Sheshet Yemim Te'aseh Melacha. And so just end with what Rabbi Gladstein did say about this idea is that if we now count 1 day for Rosh Hashanah, 1 day for Yom Kippur, 1 day for Shavuos, 1 day for Sukkot, 1 day for Pesach, the seventh day of Pesach, and the eighth day of Sukkot, we come to 6 days. So what Rabbi Gladstein was explaining was that on those 6 days, we do have melacha, certain melacha, like cooking for Yantiv, but Yom HaShvi'i, Shabbat Shabbaton. So Shabbat is completely, it said Yom Kippur, my mistake. Sorry, again. First day of Rosh Hashanah, first day of Sukkot, eighth day of Sukkot, or Shmini Atzeret, the first day of Shavuos and the first and seventh day of Pesach, that comes out to 6. And Yom Kippurim, Vayom HaShevi'i, Shabbat Shabbaton, somewhere else in the Torah, we are told that Yom Kippurim is Shabbat Shabbaton, a Sabbath of a Sabbath, and so that is his explanation for this verse, which seems, like I said, out of place and redundant. So wish you all a very happy day and happy Monday, and do something for creation. We'll stop here.